Hello and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that is so hot it's kind of like a pig in the sun. Bacon. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at The Silver River from Robert Burke Games. In the Silver River, 1 to 4 players, 5 with an expansion, go ahead and set out to become the most powerful species dominating the galaxy. The game board contains a number of star systems and places you can populate. The planets have numbers on them, meaning that's their maximum population size. You also will have some kooky monsters that come out of the center of the galaxy. Every round, players are going to do a few things. Now, first of all, they're going to collect raw production. You start with a certain number of raw production, but after that, you'll always collect raw production first thing. And you put that on your raw production on your player board, and you're going to collect these things for how many little cubes you already have on the board. That's planet population. If you have a trade station, you'll get some from that. And there's a few other factors that will give you raw production at the beginning. Then you put a player screen between you and the other players, and then you can go ahead and choose where you're going to place your production. You can do it under civilian, under political, under military, and under technological. So after you've gone ahead and you have placed that, you all reveal your screens, you see kind of where your cubes are located. And then you're going to go around and around taking turns until people pass. But you activate and you pay the cost out of how many cubes you put into those specific areas in order to go ahead and take those actions. For instance, if you do military production, you can do a few things. For instance, you can build ships to add to your fleet. You can move a fleet. You can use it to colonize a world. You can engage in combat. There's all sorts of kooky things you can do with military. Now, with the military, you can also do an explore action. With an explore action, you essentially take an explorer card, and these explorer cards oftentimes will have kind of stories to them, and they will say, either you or another player need to keep that card, and then if something else comes up, that will affect it. So it kind of adds more of kind of a story element to the game when you do the explorer cards. With technological, primarily you're investing in tech cards that can help you across the board. Civilization stuff, you can build trade stations. You can also use that to colonize worlds. And then, of course, political, you can do a few things. You can try to get a title card, meaning you can call for a vote, say who should get this title card, and that will give you certain advantages if you hold titles. You may have kind of secret objective cards that allow you to do that, and there are public objective cards that may allow you to do that as well. And then, of course, you can also draw tactics cards. You draw a couple of tactics cards, then you put one back, and you keep one. And the politics action will also let you build wonders. These are very special types of structures that will allow you to do certain things and gain points and hopefully fulfill specific objectives. And if you still have production left over at the end of the phase, it drops down into the carryover, and that means it goes into raw production for the next round. Once all players have passed, that round is over, you go ahead and you start a new round. Now, like I say, there's some interesting things that can happen. In addition to those stories, you do have these monsters, and you can go and you can fight monsters and try to knock them out. You have, for your fleets, you have essentially a board that tracks your fleets 1, 2, 3, and 4, and your fleets are numbered 1, 2, 3, or 4 on them. And you can keep track of how many ships you have in each fleet. Like I say, you can build some and you lose some, and how many ships you have in a fleet is almost kind of like the fleet's health level. But you've got dice that have specific shapes on them, and depending on what your weapons are, you're more likely to hit with certain kinds of more common shapes on the die. So you're trying to upgrade your ships with tech cards in order to help make them more powerful as the game progresses. Now, after you have played 4 game rounds, the game ends, and then you go ahead and you see who has won by tallying up your score. And you're scored for different things. So end of game scoring gives you a few things. First of all, you can get points for if you have any completed objective cards that you've got will give you points. Completed wonders will give you points. If you have production that you have not used, depending on a system there, you can gain points for those. Now you also have a track that you do advance on that gives you certain advantages during the game. Depending on where you are on that track may also give you some points as well. And whoever has the most total victory points at the end wins the Silver River. So the Silver River, this is another in, I think, a long line of games that attempt to capture the magic that is Twilight Imperium in a more digestible time frame. Twilight Imperium, of course, is a game that lasts, can last, 4 to 8 hours or more. It can be a very, very long game. And then, of course, some games like this, they're trying to get it into like the 2-3 hour time frame, just to, like I say, make it a little easier. And the game that perhaps came closest was Eclipse, but even that is a very, very different game from Twilight Imperium. This game feels a little bit more like Twilight Imperium. In fact, I'd say this is probably one of the better attempts to make a game like a compact Twilight Imperium game. I played, just about every one of these I like, but I find I don't play a lot of them again because, I'd rather play TI or something else. But this one is a game that, while certainly it's not nearly as good as TI4, or even Eclipse for that matter, which I like quite a bit, I do like this game. I do think this game does a good job, and I think if you don't have the time for a TI4 and you don't have the 6 players to get on board for TI4, I think this is probably a good alternative. Like I say, I don't think it's as good a game as TI4, but I think it can scratch that itch in a reasonable amount of time. I think we played it where we were right around 2 hours we came in at, and it's relatively easy to learn and to play. It's not a very difficult game to understand, not a very high learning curve. So I had a lot of fun with this game. I think it's a good game. So with all that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for a more compact Twilight Imperium type game, I recommend you go ahead and check this one out. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to say buy it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I've often wondered what would be a pig's favorite karate move. Could it be a pork chop?
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Oh, hey!
Hi.
I'm so glad you could make it. I didn't think you were...
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry I'm late. I had this friend come over who actually convinced me he was king of America. It doesn't matter. I'm just glad I'm here with you finally.
No, me too. I have a little bit of a confession.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've had a crush on you for, like, months.
Really? It's so weird because I've had a crush on you like forever. I can't believe this. A beautiful woman has a crush on me.
Really? Yeah, no, I really do. We just seemed like we had so much in common.
Oh,
like,
I know. What's your favorite board game?
Oh, I don't really like board games.